All right, so before I even start this video, I want to lay a challenge down. I want to lay a challenge down to all the MMA analysts that are out there that are operating with the same kind of information that I am, right? You got guys who have inside information. Brett Okamoto, not in the same category, but actually he's the only one because Ariel, dude, we can bang, man. I like Ariel. Me and Ariel have talked. He's good people, but he falls into this category that I'm about to lay out, which is every other MMA analyst. If you can find someone that you think is breaking these fights down better than me, put him up. Someone who's never fought in the UFC or fought professionally, put him up. Let's go. Get him in the ring with me. Let's debate. Show me someone who understands the sport like I do, from top to bottom, business down to the X's and O's. Show them to me. The Weasels got me on X's and O's, for sure. But aside from that, show them to me. Let's go. Now, here, come watch my video.
I am taking over the UFC, period.
Conor McGregor is the biggest star.
I plan on stealing the show every time.
He's the biggest draw in the history of the sport.
He will fight anybody, anywhere, anytime.
There's two things I really like to do, and that's whoop ass and look good.
All right, so this is going to be a short, but holy shish kebab video if this actually ends up happening, because I think that it's possible Jorge Masvidal could be fighting Conor McGregor next, and I'll tell you why. Now, I'm not going to guarantee this by any capacity, but I did a video yesterday saying Jorge Masvidal's most likely next opponent was going to be Nate Diaz or maybe Colby Covington. I said Conor, very unlikely. Then I read an article this morning, which I realized I had read about 4 or 5 days ago, and somehow I didn't connect those dots, which is that Ali Abdelaziz, who is Khabib's manager, said that he thought Khabib could fight GSP before he fights Gaethje or Ferguson. Here's the thing. You have to take everything that he says with a grain of salt. That's why I didn't really think about it at that point, where I was like, okay, whatever. He's just trying to ruffle Conor's feathers and make him feel like he's not going to get a rematch. But the GSP fight, that is a different ballgame, okay? So when Ali says like, oh yeah, you know, Ferguson deserves the match, or Gaethje deserves the match, or Khabib's gonna do blah, 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 whatever, you gotta keep in mind that this guy is intentionally trying to poke Conor. You're never gonna get the rematch, you're never gonna get the rematch. But the GSP fight is a super fight. That's the one fight that Khabib has that might be as big or bigger, nah, not bigger, but as big as the Conor McGregor rematch. And it's a huge legacy fight. Khabib has already beat Conor. So for Khabib, he wants to just line up the legends and knock him down, okay? GSP, you get that on your resume? I mean, come on, man. That's a fight that I would be very excited about. But if that is seriously what's going to happen, and I would say it's insane for that not to at least be considered by the UFC, then Conor doesn't have a dance partner. And you know who else suddenly doesn't have a dance partner? Jorge Masvidal. And if you can think of a bigger pay-per-view than Jorge Masvidal versus Conor McGregor, I would love to hear about it. And whoever wins that fight is, I mean, well, the thing is, here's the challenge with that fight. Those two guys are already straight in for title fights, right? And if they fight each other and one of them gets knocked out, then one of them is not into a title fight. So from a business standpoint, you know, you'd have to be able to get to a place where you think neither of them's going to get knocked out. And, you know, if Conor loses at 170, that somehow that doesn't affect his ability to just slide right in and fight Khabib at 155. I mean, listen, if Conor loses to Masvidal, you can stick one of basically any of the 155 top contenders, and besides maybe Ferguson, in front of him, and he'll knock them out. I mean, bottom line, the Ferguson is the only guy in that kind of murderer's row at 155 that I don't think Conor just walks through. I think Gaethje is the easiest fight for him. We could do a whole other video about that. But Masvidal, if he loses, that's a different ballgame, man. Masvidal is fire right now, and you don't want to extinguish that for anything. Conor is a huge risk for anyone, dude. Conor's stand-up game, people do not understand how good it is. They do not get it. When I try to explain to people, like, listen, if he's fighting against an opponent that's going to stand with him, who has even a moderately suspect chin, they're always going to get knocked out in the first round. That's how good Conor is. And I'm talking like always. There is no, it's literally like an algorithm that has certain outcomes given certain data points. That is Conor's stand-up. If a guy has a weak chin and is going to stand with him, he's going to get knocked out in the first round. That is going to happen, period. So Masvidal versus Conor, it's a huge risk for Masvidal. It just is. But that fight could happen. That fight really could happen. And I thought about it this morning. I'm like, I got to update that video because I hadn't thought about the GSP versus Khabib thing. Because the whole reason that Conor is not in the conversation is because Dana wants him to fight Khabib in the rematch. But if Khabib already is fighting GSP, which it sounds like that might be on the table, then who knows? Anyway, that's what I got. If you like the content, subscribe, ring the bell. Because you know what? Nobody is giving you MMA analysis like me. I will put money on that. You actually watch my content and then tell me somebody is doing a better job breaking down the fights and what's going on behind the scenes. Someone who's sitting here with no context. I'm not talking to Dana. I'm not talking to these fighters. I'm just watching the pieces and then I'm breaking it down with this surgical mind that you're watching. Find someone doing a better job than me, okay? I'll Pepsi, Luke Thomas, cool. He's got inside stuff. Nonetheless, I will Pepsi challenge that all day long. These guys at Yahoo, Pepsi challenge. Put me up against those guys. Let's debate. Let me debate one of these clowns, right? Luke Thomas, not a clown, but those other guys, clowns. The MMA junkie guys, clowns. Yahoo guy, clown. Put those guys in the ring with me and let's see. Bury them. Bury them. Put that fight together. Let's go.